If your former peers are now reporting to you and you experience this as an awkward transition, it's because you are missing this key characteristic. Welcome to the Golden Hour. This is the 5 a.m. Leadership Lab, and every single episode of the Leadership Lab, I'm going to be answering high-level questions that executives ask. And this is a common transition. You have been working diligently at developing yourself into the person you need to become to lead teams. And when you have a vertical advancement, sometimes the people that used to be your same level peers are now your direct reports. And I understand a lot of executives come to me and they say, it's awkward and they don't trust my leadership. They seem to be resisting my suggestions and it feels like we are walking on eggshells. I submit to you that it does not have to be awkward. If you're experiencing it as awkward, then there is one key leadership skill that is missing and you're not exuding this characteristic. So what is this characteristic? The characteristic is being a dealer of hope. So what do I mean by that? A dealer of hope. How do you deal hope? Now, I define hope as a well-grounded, well-founded expectation of the future. So this means that you are now a team leader. As a team leader, one of your most important responsibilities is to communicate the vision, an inspirational vision, to rally your team around it. And sometimes if your team does not rally around that vision, they won't be inspired towards that vision. But all the time, your team members are going to be needing direction from their leader. And they're going to want to know that you have their best interest in mind. So being a dealer of hope means that you understand what their best interests are, not defined by you, but defined by them. And that you are formulating a culture, you're formulating the environment, and you're formulating the right communication cadence so that now your individual team members know that they're being heard and understood and that they are going to have their best interests being fulfilled on your team. So it doesn't have to be awkward. So this starts from you being able to be clear on where are we heading as a team and where are we at today so that now we know the distance between where we're at today and where we're at tomorrow. And by the way, that's called potential. The difference between where your team is at tomorrow and where your team is today, that is the potential of your team. So recognize their potential. And then seek to understand the individual members of your team in terms of, well, where do they want to go? What are their ambitions? What are their priorities? What is important to them? And who are these individuals? And when you approach this from a leadership context, it's a completely different relationship that you had with them when they were your peers. It's completely different. But the relationship that you now have requires the same cultivation as you had when they were your peers, but now there are new elements. The sooner you embrace these new elements, the sooner you can have a performance culture on your teams. So if you are noticing that it's awkward leading peers that once peers that are now your direct reports, recognize that it really doesn't have to be this awkward. Become the kind of leader who is a dealer in hope, and become the kind of leader who puts the relationship ahead of your own self-interest.